No, don't go in that door. There's a monster in there.
Shut up!
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Stacked episode 83. We are recording a very special episode right now because once this episode drops on Sunday, is it the 22nd? 22nd?
Yeah,
21st?
I think so. That's the day we'll be at.
22nd.
When this episode drops, we will not be in LA. We will be across the country. In Hershey Park, Pennsylvania. Eating chocolate.
Burgers?
Eating the Hershey Park burger. What else are we gonna do, Brandon? Brandon, tell us about Hershey Park and what we're gonna be doing.
There are 14 roller coasters, a king-sized milkshake, and I think they have like I mean, you guys are excited for the burgers, which is kind of weird, but I'm excited for the coasters and milkshakes. They also have like they have a chocolate tour, which is really popular. I don't know if do they have like a zoo or something? I don't know.
They have a zoo?
I could be getting that wrong, but I think they have animals. They're not a lot. It's not like Busch Gardens parks like Tampa or Williamsburg, but it is like. It could be like a Six Flags like Great Adventure or something like that. I could be wrong on that. But Hershey Park has a lot to offer. We're not just going there for Hershey Park. We're going there because we want to spend time with our boys.
This is basically like our senior trip because we didn't get to have one because there's a pandemic, you know. And now that things are a lot better than it was last year, we're going to hang out with our boys. Our friend Jack Rule, friend of the show, he wants to show us his hometown. You know, so we're gonna be exploring Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I know, popular tourist spot. I know.
I'm very excited to experience all the things Jack has planned for us. Like one of the things that he mentioned that he wants us to do is he wants to take us to an Amish market, which I'm not gonna lie is a pretty significant highlight for me with the trip because I feel like that's the closest I'll ever get to feeling like a complete alien. So, you know, I feel like that'll be a really interesting experience. Whether that's good or bad, we'll find out. But regardless, it'll be interesting.
That's actually my most anticipated thing, too, is the Amish market / village or whatever we're going to. Because I just, they fascinate me, man. And I'm excited to see what's going on. I can't wait to pull out my iPhone and go, you see this? Oh.
That's really offensive and rude.
Yeah, well, it's not like the Amish people will ever hear that joke, so it's fine. We can make fun of them all they want, because they'll never hear us. But yeah, we decided because we're on this vacation, we're going to be having a long flight. We're flying a red-eye flight on, was it Spirit Airlines? I know, guys. Oh, yeah. Spirit Airlines. We're gonna have
so scared.
We're going to have a journey with one of the worst airlines ever. We decided to get the cheapest flight and just have a fun adventure, all of us together. People's bags might be lost. I don't know. Nobody's checking a bag, right? Is anybody checking a bag?
Joey and I are.
All right. Hopefully there's nothing too good in there because it might get lost. Let's just hope for the best, you know?
Let's pray.
Let's pray. I'm packing everything I need in one backpack that I can stow under the seat. I'm only packing 2 outfits. Because we have a washing machine at Jack's place that I can rewash my next outfit.
That's why you're gonna show up if he does a vlog, you're gonna show up in the same outfit.
In the same outfits. I'm like a cartoon character, you know. Like SpongeBob always wears the same clothes. My character on the Jack Rule show always wears the same clothes. You know. Come on, this is what people do. You know. But yeah, so we decide. To dedicate this episode to traveling and watching movies while traveling. What are the best movies to watch while traveling? That's what we're going to talk about. Brandon, you were the one who thought of this topic. Do you want to care to expand on it?
Well, I do a lot of traveling. You know, I do a lot of red-eye flights where I decide that I want to go to a place for a day or a weekend or something like that. And in the process of traveling, you can sometimes be bored. and try to find something to do. Sometimes there's readers, like I like to read sometimes on my flights, to Ethan's chagrin.
Reading on a red-eye flight is just evil. Like, I don't mind reading on a flight. Reading on a red-eye flight when people are trying to sleep and all the lights are off, and then you just turns on that spotlight, just blinds everyone in the plane. It's
well,
evil.
luckily, you won't be right next to me. Oh wait,
yeah, no, I won't. I'm gonna be next to Chris.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm next to Joey and Justin, so that should be fun.
Justin's gonna love that.
Justin's gonna be like, "Can you not?"
He's gonna be like, "Hey, turn that off."
Justin sounds like Obama. That's kind of crazy.
Move.
I need leg room. Move. But yeah. On my recent flights, I've had the ability to watch movies because they're 5-hour plus flights. So I watched Titanic and Hi Mom on 2 different flights, and I was like, that's a good way to not only pass the time, but like have a space where you're like confined. You can't really escape or be distracted by anything, unless like medical emergency or something. But like that rarely happens, right? Happened twice.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
No, it happened twice on like my last 2 flights, which is kind of weird.
I'm gonna publish this episode before we leave for our flight. So if the plane crashes, guys, just be like, "Hey, this is what people remember us by." So peace, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show.
I was watching Titanic and some lady was like stumbling throughout the aisle, and she was like walking like this, and I was like, is she drunk? What's happening? But then she walked me and she like hit me in the eye, and then she fell
iceberg.
And then she fell down, and then she got up and she fell down again, and she got up and she fell down again, and I was like, what? But anyway, that's besides the point. This is a side tangent that we don't need to go on. But like, yeah, like flights give you an opportunity to focus on something either you haven't seen before that you really want to see, or to kind of rewatch some old favorites. Even if the quality isn't so good. Because I remember growing up and going on road trips, and my dad, because this was before like cell phones and laptops, my dad bringing our old like TV, like it was like one of those small box TVs that are like really thick, and he put it like on like a wooden board in, and took out like 2 of the seats from the middle of the car, and my sister and I would sit in the back, and we'd watch old like Pixar movies, and on our VHS tapes, because there was a VHS tape connected to the TV, and the TV would just be connected to the car, so it just felt like, you know, before the time when you could have like screens in the back of like the headrests. Yeah. And that's one of my favorite experiences and memories for growing up, from like driving to San Diego and watching like Monsters Inc. and Toy Story.
Right.
And that. So like that was my idea.
I wasn't ever a movie watcher when I was a kid. When I went on road trips or on the plane, I was a gamer. I had my DS, you know, so I'd be playing video games, or I'd listen to music. But not until recently, until these streaming services let you download movies, you know, I've been doing that a lot more. So like, I infamously watched the 1922 Nosferatu on a road trip once. I watched The Elephant Man on a road trip once on my phone. And I like to use the opportunity of road trips as watching a new movie, because I want to keep myself, I want something to pass the time. And sometimes when I rewatch something, like I can't find myself getting invested because I've already seen it. And I want to like completely be in something invested new. So that leads me to my picks for this episode. Every single movie I've picked are movies I haven't seen.
Oh.
And in fact,
this will be interesting.
And in fact, these are the 3 movies that I downloaded for my flight to Pennsylvania that I'm gonna watch. So next episode I can report back on how they were. But I did 3 different categories of movies of things that I like to watch on a road trip or a flight that I like to keep me occupied, you know. So I'd like to share these pics with you, and maybe you guys would like to watch with me. And guess what? None of you guys have seen these movies either. Nobody in this.
Good luck getting chosen this week.
Chris, you see what I mean? You see what I fucking
this
Hey,
guy's a madman.
maybe I can sell myself and
But
you
hey,
guys.
what
on
if,
these
what if you sell yourself and us? That would be amazing if you could pull it.
Yeah.
What if we just
I'm on board with it. All right,
I'm gonna
give this a
What
shake.
if we get like, you know, like Spider-Man Far From Home, where like they got the headphone adapter that like they could share?
Oh yeah.
Like, what if we did that and we just
could do
watched
that.
our stack? We did a real life.
That'd be
stack.
cute. That'd be romantic.
Yeah, I love you.
Your brain's like, please say it back. Please say it back. Damn it! Like from the characters. Chris, what about you? What was your method to this? Chris, I think you've been on the longest flights than any of us. You've flown the farthest.
Yeah,
right?
I've been fortunate to travel quite a bit in my life, and often through great distances. My longest flight ever was 17 hours.
Wow.
So yeah, and like for me, you know, like I've often really liked watching a lot of these really lighthearted, fun comedies because for me, like I personally like, and I know this is it is a privilege to travel, but I personally don't really like flying, especially because for me, like traveling is all about the experience of doing the stuff rather than the traveling itself.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like I actually approached my stack a little bit unusually. My goal wasn't really to pick out films that are great to watch while traveling per se, but more so films that highlight that feeling of traveling and emotionally what that feels like. And of course, these films may very well be movies that you would like to watch while traveling, but also might not necessarily be. But I really wanted to pick these films because I feel like they gave access to movies that coincided with the feelings that you get when you do travel. So yeah, that's what I wanted to do with my movies. So mine might seem a little unorthodox when I share them, but I think I can find some unique ways to go about it. So yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing all of these picks. So without further ado, let's go with running down the rules of the show, and then I will start off by pitching my first film that I haven't seen. Once a week, we set a topic or theme and go our separate ways to construct our own 3-film stack. Then after a week, we come back here on the podcast and share our own stacks 1 film at a time. Then at the end of the show, we will mix and match our 9 films to make the ultimate decision on what quintessential 3-film stack we are checking out of this hypothetical video store. Shout out to friend of the show Milo, who last week he posted a little video of himself going over the rules with me. You know, he read it off at the same time that I did. That was really cute. Shout outs to all the fans that do that. We love you.
You know what
I
have to say to that?
What?
Bad, Milo. Bad.
Play the movie. Roll the clip. But yeah, all right. My first movie. So, one of my favorite things to watch on traveling, keep me entertained, is a comedy. You know, I love me a good comedy. So I always try to look out for comedies. Whether it be, you know, I have a fond memory of watching The Other Guys on a bus ride with my classmates to go camping. Or, you know, one time I watched Airplane on the airplane, you know? It's fun. Like I said, I wanted to pick a movie I've never seen before. All these movies I downloaded off the Amazon Prime app. I scrolled through, see what was interesting, and I wanted to clear off this comedy blind spot, if you will. It's one I've never seen. It's an 80s comedy. It's a 1989 film directed by Ted Kotcheff. It's Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, I've heard of this movie.
Yeah, everyone's heard of this movie, but I don't feel like everyone's actually seen it, you know? Everyone's like, oh yeah.
Plot?
The plot is like the guy, like their boss is dead, so they try to pretend that he's alive. And that's the log line, right? And I'm like, okay, that could be funny, you know? And everyone knows like, oh, let's Weekend at Bernie's it, you know? Like drag around the dead dude, put sunglasses on him, you know? It's like the Weekend at Bernie'sing is become a verb. I don't know. And it's like, it's something that that's a blind spot to me. I want to fully understand what people talk about when they're really breaking down the process of weekends at Bernie's-ing someone. So I'm gonna watch that on the plane. Think it'll be a fun time. You know, it's an '80s classic comedy, but you know those sometimes don't age. But I think something lighthearted like that and fun. Like it's got a bright, vibrant poster. They're like in Hawaiian shirts. You know, they're on the beach and they're holding up a dead guy with sunglasses. Could be fun.
That's your
you know?
aesthetic.
That's my aesthetic. Dead people, you know, sunglasses, the beach. It's great. What do you guys think of Weekend at Bernie's?
I haven't seen it. The only way I know this movie is because they referenced this movie once in the show Friends, and that's it. I didn't even know what this movie was about until now. I've always been curious because of that mention in that show Friends, which I watched a lot. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like the logline you just described really does sell it. I think that's actually a really funny idea. And yeah, you sold me. How about you, Brandon?
This is a movie that I've had Netflix since like 2010, 2009, something like that. So like way back when they did, and they still do this, but like they delivered the movies to your mailbox. You remember that time?
DVD rental service, yeah.
And I remember getting the first like version of the Netflix streaming service. And ever since then, I feel like Weekend at Bernie's has been on every single streaming service. Like I've just seen it, looked at it, that's the poster, and then scrolled past it.
But and I'm what better time to finally figure out what's in that movie than when you're trapped on a plane, you know?
I mean, that's one way to do it.
There's nothing else to do.
Apprehensive, to say the least. But yeah, I don't know. Like the concept has always sounded like interesting. It's just like nobody ever talks about it like it's a good movie. They just talk about the concept. You know,
I don't know if it's a good movie. I don't know if it's a bad movie.
I don't even know the critical reception for this. Like
me neither.
Usually,
and it's like honestly on Letterboxd, it's an even 3.0 curve, so it could go either way. It literally is. So it's truly a wild card. I have no idea how I'm gonna feel about it, which is kind of exciting, you know?
I feel like 80s and 70s to 90s comedies are like, I don't know, like maybe that's like a bygone era. There's just like a handful that like poke their head out and like people are like, that movie's really good. I feel like you really have like Big, for example. Big and Weird Science are along the same lines where I don't think a lot of people have necessarily seen them. But like comparatively to like other films of that time, but then they're like those curves are somewhat similar, you know, where they're average, you know. But you may like it.
We may see. I don't know either. That's why it was intriguing to me. I saw the curve, and I was like, damn, you know, I'm very split on what this could do for me, but that intrigues me just as much. So that's why I'm picking Weekend at Bernie's, a film none of us has seen, for my first travel movie pick. Brandon, you were up next with your first travel movie. What is it?
So I separated into a circumstance where I was like, if I'm on a plane, or in my car, what am I going to be structuring this around? Am I going to be structuring this around more calm, tame stories? Is it going to be intense action thrillers to keep me awake or on the edge of my seat? Because you got to be mindful of the people around you sometimes. You can't just, and here's the stack that I was initially going to go with as a joke stack, but then Ethan just totally whacked me with his. I was going to go with Salo, Four Lions, and Evil Dead, the 2013 one. Just because, like, those, I would
the probably worst be movies to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I was telling Ethan when I was watching Titanic on the plane, I remember, like, there was that nude scene with Kate Winslet, right, when Leo's drawing her, and I did this when that came up, I was like this, Chris.
For the listeners, and which is everyone besides me and Chris, Brandon, he was looking over both of his shoulders with wide eyes to look around so nobody was looking at him and judging us for watching the movie.
Yeah, but I'm like, it's Titanic, it's societally acceptable, so I wanted to choose films that kind of melded those categories, but were also very different. So I have a film about travel, which is the first film that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to pick Richard Linklater's Before Sunrise.
Ooh.
I had a feeling a before film would come up on here.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, here, when you're talking about that movie, it's like you've got a romantic film that is very slow and focused on conversation. So when you're on a plane, it doesn't really matter what, like, or in a car, it doesn't really matter what you're watching it on. You know, I don't think the technical marvels are what you go for when you go to a Linklater movie, let alone the Before trilogy, because the film is focused on the characters and the dialogue. And to, like, examine that on a plane when you're traveling, when the characters within or in any mode of transportation, like when the characters are traveling throughout cities on buses and cars and trains and stuff like that, I find that to be like a fascinating example of like being able to become cultured in a certain area with certain people. And I think that's a very exciting thing, even though it's like a very low key sort of movie and romance. But yeah, I really love this film. The writing's really good. The romance is palpable between the two actors. And though I can understand why people adore the second and third films, this will always be my favorite.
Wow. Chris, have you seen this film?
I've never seen any before film. Which is a travesty because I feel like I would really like these.
Yeah, you would.
I think you would. I was unfortunate enough to have never seen these films before taking our industry insiders class, and for some goddamn reason,
they showed the second.
They only showed the second one in our class, so I watched
the first 5 minutes.
I watched the first 5 minutes of the first one, then I watched the second one. I like the second one, and I think the first one's okay. Listen, I love Ethan Hawke. I think he is such an intelligent man who knows a lot about cinema and the industry. I mean, did you guys hear that one thing that he said about comic book films the other day that was going around on Twitter? That dude is so smart, and like he is just like he's a thespian, just like in acting and in real life, and the way he's just able to convey knowledge. You know, it's just like it's so interesting to listen to him. But I couldn't stand him in this movie. I absolutely couldn't stand him. I thought he was just so pretentious and preachy throughout the film. If I was Julie Delpy, I'd get the fuck out of there. I'm just like so tired of movies where there's these white dudes just telling us that these super mundane things like, oh, they're actually beautiful, you know? Like, it worked for me in American Beauty. Ethan Hawke was trying to do the same thing here, and I was just like, I wasn't having it. But I think the writing is good. It feels real. Dialogue between two characters, just like characters that I just found insufferable. And but I think they definitely grew up and got better in the second film, which is why I like the second film. But this one, just find okay. I think the second one is the one you really want to look for. I want to see the third one. I got to see the third one. Still haven't seen it. I'm glad my dad doesn't listen to Stack, because he would probably disown me if he heard my opinion on this film, because he loves the Before trilogy.
They're all really good movies, and the reason why I think the first one is just, I'm not going to spoil it for you, Chris, because there's really not much to spoil, but like, I don't want to like taint your experience, but like there are aspects of this movie where the characters are supposed to be like that. And they may be unlikable, but they do have insightful things to say. And I think it's really exciting to watch a relationship, whether that be a friendship or a romantic one, blossom over the course of a film in a way that feels genuine and realistic, as opposed to like the same old structure that you're used to seeing in modern romantic comedies.
I agree with that, which is why I like the second one. But this one, I think...
But the second one's not really about that. You know this.
I know
Rewatch
this,
it,
but...
because that's like, not about that.
It's not about that, but it's about something that's, like... It's about something that's more. I don't know.
It's like...
about them...
It's like the first one's about young love, whereas like... And that's like the most relatable thing, because I feel like we are that stage. The second one's going to be more relatable when we're in our early 30s or late 20s. and then the last one's probably going to be relatable when we're in our 40s and 50s. And I think there's a difference, and I don't think I could confidently say that one is far superior to the rest. I just feel like there's a genuinely more heartfelt connection with the first film, whereas the other ones are more grounded in like the realist. I just don't want to spoil it. The realist aspect of certain relationships and how they go. And I love the ambiguity that each of the films has as well. So I can understand your distaste, but I don't think it's as bad as you say it is.
I do like the ambiguity of life and relationships and what's gonna happen next. I just think Richard Linklater tries to make these characters say meaningful things, and I don't think they are really that much, because I don't know. I didn't buy it.
I disagree.
Oh fuck! You're gonna have to make me bring back the counter for that. I don't even know what we're at.
Question mark?
God damn. I gotta add that to the notes. All right, Chris, what is your first travel movie?
Okay. Well, I wanted to start with a film that I think underlines that feeling of departure really well. And I don't know about you guys, but when I travel, and especially when I fly, I go through this kind of like transitional phase of emotions where I feel kind of detached from myself. And it like, for some reason, flying just like puts me in a mood to reflect about the person I am on the ground. And I don't know, I feel like flying is a great opportunity to take some inventory and think about the world around you, the life you live, and the body you inhabit, which is why for my first film, I'm choosing an unconventional one.
Ooh.
I'm choosing a 1997 film directed by Abbas Kiarostami. I'm picking Taste of Cherry.
The Taste
which
of
I don't
Cherry.
think either of you have seen.
I have not, but I know the plot.
It's
interesting.
Yeah, so
I don't know the plot. Tell me.
This film follows a middle-aged Turanian man who is seeking someone to bury him after his planned suicide. So he goes on this journey where he drives around the city and meets numerous people and to ask them to take on that task. Mm-hmm. But it leads him down this journey of discovering the beauty of life, even in its darkest of times, and also the darkness in life. And I know that at face value, this may appear to be a very dark film to start on, and it is, but it's also a film that that is actually very, very uplifting, depending on the way you view this movie. Obviously, Kiarostami is a director whose kind of minimalist and realist style doesn't really gel with everyone, and that's okay. Not every director is going to gel with everyone. And like if your MO when you're traveling is to pass the time, this might not be the best pick because it is quite slow and very, very gentle and ambient. However, I do wholeheartedly think that this film gives a great glimpse into that sensation of being removed from oneself and shows our humanity with this very kind of with this filled with its rich complexity. It distorts our perception of reality and also enworldens us in this story about finding value in and the answers to life in the mundanity of existence. It's a film that really does start as a depressing tale of death, but turns into kind of a weirdly comforting and surprisingly uplifting film about life as well. And like in the most complimentary way possible, this movie does make you kind of want to sleep, which is honestly for me really great for traveling because I like sleeping on planes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to throw this in there just kind of like as a film that it embodies that sense of departure, and you'll see how as my stack carries along, we kind of go through the motions of what traveling feels like. So yeah, and like that's what I was talking about when I said in the beginning of this episode that my stack is going to be a little bit more leaned towards the feeling of traveling rather than films to watch while doing so.
Right.
Anyway, I don't know if there's much for you guys to say about Taste of Cherry since you guys haven't seen it. We've talked a little bit about Kiarostami in the past before.
Yeah.
So I don't want to have to spend time with us treading old ground, but is there anything you want to throw in there? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it just like sometimes it's good to find a film that really does feel like a meditation, and like a time to reflect upon what it sounds like is like life, death, the human spirit, because it is a very dark plot of, of this man trying to find someone to help him bury him after his suicide, and I think, after watching Close Up, I really do get a feeling, like a feel of how Kiarostami like how he like conveys sort of an ethos and like I don't know, an ideology of living, of existentialism, and of being like how to live, I guess, and it seems like from what I hear from this film, that seems like it's carrying on those similar sentiments, just with a more darker twist to it. And I'm certainly interested. I feel like when I'm in a plane and I feel sort of detoxed and like relaxed, that's the kind of film you want to watch, So good pick. What do you think, Brandon?
I think Kiarostami's filmography all has that effect on people. We watch The One Will Carry Us. Will carry us, and that is very like meditative, even if you don't appreciate the film for how it's constructed, but we need to rewatch it. Close Up is also another one that's like very hypnotic in the way that it feels and examines reality, and this does it in a more grounded way. I've been, there are films that are like teetering on the edge of being watched for me, and this has always been one of them since I've heard about it. It's just like you want to go into a film with the right mindset. And I feel like if I'm trapped in an area, maybe that might be a good idea to watch.
Yeah.
But also I don't want to, because like there are some films that you deep down you'll really like, and you hope so at least. And this is one that I really want to like based on the concept, but I just don't want to watch it and like go in with any preconceived notions of how I might feel, just to taint that viewing experience. And I don't know if that sounds pretentious or not, but that's how I feel. I mean, it sounds like a decent travel film for what you guys are speaking about.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. There's the first round of picks. Let's go back to me and my second pick. All right, so here's something that I like to do when I'm on the plane trapped. I like to watch documentaries.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I like to learn, I mean, Brandon likes to read books. I like to watch documentaries. I also like to watch really stupid things. I like to find out like just the dumbest things in the world, when I'm on the plane. So I'm gonna kill two birds with one stone here on my flight to Pennsylvania. And I downloaded the 1970 adaptation of one of the most famous pseudoscience books of all time, Chariots of the Gods. Now, do you guys know this book?
I do not.
It is written by Eric von Daniken, and it is basically, he is the man who created the theory that everything like impressive created by ancient civilizations, aliens did that. Like, aliens helped them do that. So that was that guy. He wrote Chariots of the Gods to sort of, deconstruct the pyramids, like Stonehenge, Easter Island heads, the Mayan and Aztec pyramids, and be like, oh, I think aliens came here a long time ago, and they were perceived as angels and gods, and like, they helped us construct, further our technology and everything. Of course, that's bullshit. Like if it's very much like conveyed a mindset like that if a white person didn't do it, then it was aliens, that is very toxic. But I think that I like to watch like dumb documentaries about that. Like I watched a documentary about I talked about on the podcast, Drunk Movies, the documentary about giants, how giants used to roam the earth. Or like documentaries about Stone, like the Shining, like, and all those theories about it. I think that's very Some people have some very dumb theories, but I find it really entertaining, even though the movie's not good. And I think this is something similar like that, you know? It's 1970, which is crazy. You'd think this is like someone would make like an internet age documentary that of people doing conspiracy theories, but this is the 70s. So I'm curious to see what this is like. It's a very goofy concept in my opinion, but sometimes those goofy concepts lead to something very entertaining. So I'm willing to check it out. What do you guys think of Chariots of the Gods?
I mean, it's just that. It's your opinion, right?
Well, that's what the show all is. It's
No,
all of our
no.
opinions, right?
No. Your opinion is that this is true.
No, this isn't true.
Yeah. You think that's why you're pitching it.
Were you even listening to me? I just said it's not true. You weren't listening to me.
No, you were saying that, but I think that in deep down you were like, listen, I want to watch this to see if it is true. You're contemplating that by watching it.
No, I just like things about aliens, and I want to see some people's goofy ass conspiracy theories that are dumb.
I mean,
Brandon's been gaslighting me all day because my dad called him an alien, and he's been really upset about that. It's really upset him.
I love that piece of information about your dad calling Brandon an alien is just being exposed like on the podcast to people, and they're just gonna be like, okay, I guess that happened.
I don't want to spoil the movie.
Yeah, the movie.
Spoiler alert, it's not true.
Spoiler alert, it's not true. Brandon
Also,
is not an alien.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I immediately thought of Fall of the Giants when you mentioned it. And I personally do not usually entertain films such as these.
No?
No.
Why not? It's fun. It's fun to think how it's like, I don't know. It's like reading about like flat earthers, those like Scientology.
Because I don't.
It's like it's crazy what the dumb people can believe in, you know, and what they can convince themselves through like racism. I guess that's
true.
I don't know.
I guess that's true. It's just kind of disheartening, you know, watching those like, what are they, Dinesh D'Souza documentaries?
Oh yeah,
about Trumpism and stuff like that. It's like so obviously propaganda. Like, for example, like I talk about this a little bit in my review for Akira Kurosawa documentary that I watched a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a difference between something like that and Triumph of the Will, you know? Whereas, like, one is like blatant propaganda that is used to show a time in history from a certain perspective, and you know the way in which it's used. But the other is not so blatant, but it doesn't really have anything to say, but you can obviously tell that it's meant to tell a certain idea. Mm-hmm. And like that's where I guess it is kind of cool to like look at the silly perspectives that certain people have.
Yeah.
But it's not the kind of film that I like go towards. To watch it on a plane though, or in a car or on a train, like imagine if people around you saw that, what they would think.
I gotta be going the whole time. I gotta be cocking my head back and forth.
No, it's like that. That's the viral Twitter post going around where the person's like, "How am I gonna read this?" And it's like a picture of like, it's a picture of the rise and fall of like Nazism book, and it's like, there's a swastika on the front cover, and he's like, then somebody retweeted and said, "I'm just gonna look around on the subway going." Shaking my head every time because I disagree.
Yeah, I'll be doing that with the documentary. If you guys see me, I'm just like, I'm gonna be laughing the whole time. And I'll be the guy to the seat behind me. I'm like, hey, are you seeing this?
This is ridiculous, right?
This is fucking bullshit, right?
I definitely don't believe.
I don't believe in any of it. Yeah, Chris, what do you think? You think aliens built ancient civilizations? Do you think people of color don't contribute anything to our ancient civilizations and it was just white people and aliens? What do you think?
Well, are we not all aliens, you know, in some way? Think about it. Think about it.
Yes. What is an alien to begin with? Were we spliced with alien DNA, which made us humans instead of apes? Much to think about. I'm curious. No, what do you think?
I don't know. Like I find this stuff interesting. Like I don't think I have the same amount of like passion for watching this kind of stuff as you do, Ethan. But I would happily watch this. Like I remember a little bit ago I was watching when I first discovered what Scientology was, which I didn't discover until late last year. I remember watching one of those documentaries about it, and like on top of like just like learning about like hearing what they have to say and whatever, a big part of the enjoyment of that was these guys are fucking crazy. Like, this is insane. I cannot believe this. But, you know, that's kind of the fun of it, to kind of see how far human knowledge can dwindle. So, yeah, here we are. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Like, I don't know. It's just interesting to see how the stupidity and weirdness of people, you know, because we're a big planet. And, lots of people believe in lots of weird things.
Yeah. But I don't want to validate them.
But I wanna discourage them by laughing at them. So there we go. That's my second pick. All right, Brandon, what's your second pick?
My second film is a film that I feel like on a plane you need something kind of long to kind of get you through some like lulls in the period, especially if your plane ride's longer than like 5-6 hours, you know, you need that film, you know. So I'm picking a longer blockbuster, one that should get everybody happy and talking. I'm picking Independence Day.
Oh, a Roland Emmerich movie. Nothing like a Roland Emmerich movie while traveling.
Right, because like it's like it's mindless in a sense, but it doesn't. It's not like without merit. I don't think. Like, yeah. I think a lot of people's criticisms are valid about the movie being kind of dumb. Like a Mac virus from the 90s is able to defeat an alien race is kind of crazy. Especially one that just annihilated like your biggest populous centers. And the uniting of the world around the US is a bit like awful. Not going to sugarcoat it. But it's so silly and fun, and it goes by in an instant, especially for how long it is as a blockbuster. But I genuinely enjoy my time watching this film, and watching it on an airplane. It's one of those movies that can get you through a long flight with all of its fun characters and the ensemble piece, and even some of the more dark moments. And I know it's like larger scale, so it might pale in comparison to how it may look on a big screen.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean it can't be good. Yeah.
And also I feel like when you're in the car traveling or you're on the plane, like, dude, like, you're not going to get amazing detail regardless, you know? Like, the screen's only going to be so big, you know? Your audio is probably not going to be the best. But, you know, whatever works at that point. And, yeah, I can see why this would be really fun to watch. Like, I feel like a lot of the movies that I like watching on planes and stuff are, like, ones that are so, like, just super easy, digestible, just popcorn movies, you know? Like, I think I remember last time I flew...
Like Taste of Cherry.
Yeah, like Taste of Cherry, you know? Something light, digestible. You know?
Movie, guys, yeah.
No, but what was the last movie you watched? Sorry.
Oh, I don't remember anymore.
Ethan, thanks for ruining Chris's thought. That was so rude.
Yeah, okay. Good choice. Yeah, Independence Day is good.
Oh, I feel so... I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah, I agree. Who is the director who was watching a dude on his phone in the airport and he was skipping through the action sequences? Does anyone remember that? Do you remember that, Chris?
I remember once being on a plane and just watching a dude watch Infinity War, but only watching the action sequences.
Yeah. There's something about that of like people just wanting to like
strange psychology.
Yeah, of just wanting to like, I don't know, just numb their minds through spectacle, you know,
Yeah.
when they're on the plane.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to.
Like nothing bad's gonna happen to me.
Yeah, or just like they just want to get things over with, so they don't want to think too much about anything, you know. And I feel like Independence Day, that's a good way to do it, you know.
On my last flight, there was a kid who was watching No Way Home, and ever so often I'd look over to see what scene he was on.
Mhm.
But like he started out watching like the whole movie, and like probably like an hour in, because I'm watching Titanic at this point, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking around and I see, oh, he's on that scene. And then I look up, not like 5 minutes later, and he started skipping through portions of the movie like halfway.
Yeah.
Like to like certain scenes in particular, and I was like, wait, that's not it. And then I'd look back up and I was like, wait, that's not it. And then I looked up the last time like 10 minutes later, and he was watching Paw Patrol.
You're like, I remember this in No Way Home. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's a good pick. Chris, what is your second pick?
All right. So next on my stack, I wanted to pick a film that captured that kind of euphoric sense of adventure, you know, that you get when you travel, especially to a place that you haven't been before. And for that, it might be a bit of a weird one. I think Brandon might not be the biggest fan of this, but I'm picking a 2012 film directed by Ang Lee. I'm picking Life of Pi for my next movie. Brandon is giving me death glare.
Wait, does Brandon not like this movie?
He's all right. You're
just
all right
like,
with this movie.
it's just like I don't understand like the acclaim. It's not that I don't think the movie's well made. I think
How do you not like this movie? Be like Avatar. I feel like these were like two of the same, like two like they're like very similar films during the awards.
What
season.
the hell are
Just
you
like,
talking about?
Of just like, oh yes, the very beautiful visual effects heavy films that were like Academy darlings by very big directors. I'm like, how is this movie not up your alley? I don't get it. They're very similar.
Because Avatar's story is more moving to me than Ang Lee's Life of Pi. I think Life of Pi is a very spiritual journey, and that's like the best part about the movie. And the visual flair is okay, I guess. Like, I never watched the movie on the big screen, but I remember seeing it on like a sort of big screen because like I remember we watched it in
did we watch it? I feel like we
watched this in film history. Yeah, we watched it in film history.
I don't remember that, so like that I was there, I'm sure. But maybe I just wasn't moved by the visual effects. I don't know. I think the storyline of Avatar you could pull a lot more from as like a tale of shit. Yeah. No, it's just like a romantic tale, but also one that like definitely shit talks like corporations and how poorly we do on the environment and how we could go back to times when it's like less like problematic.
Like Fern Gully.
And
Pocahontas.
Jesus Christ.
And Dancing.
They're not even close. They're not even close.
They are. They're so close.
They're not. They're really not. They're not. They're not.
They are. They are.
So anyway,
let me talk about Life of Pi. I was actually, fun fact, I was at Brandon's camp when I first saw this movie. I was like, it's alright. It's okay. You know, forgettable. But then we watched it in film history, and we watched it in the Dolby Theater. Did we watch it in 3D? Did they give us the 3D copy of this?
No, that was for Hugo.
Why did we watch I hate Hugo. Anyways, Life of Pi, it was at like the picture and image quality and just like the sound of it all in that Dolby Theater was just outstanding. It was a amazing experience, and it gave me a 180 on the film. I think it is a very powerful story about survival, human instinct, and the balance between man and nature, and willpower. I thought it creates a beautiful relationship between man and quote unquote beast of Richard Parker. Another beautiful sort of exploration to subjectivity, exploring, did this really happen or not? You know, was Richard Parker even real? Was like, what was going on? What was real? What was not? I just, I eat that stuff up. And yeah, I thought just like Dev Patel did a great job in the film. And I think this is great. You know, but you got to watch on a boat, right, Chris? Because like if you said you couldn't, if Brandon couldn't watch Titanic on a plane, you can't watch this on a plane either, unless you do crash on a plane and there's a tiger on the plane and you survive with the tiger. I don't know. Just saying.
I don't know, man.
Hey, that might happen on the way to Pennsylvania. I wouldn't put it above Spirit Airlines if there's a tiger on the plane.
Like,
you know,
I just think there are aspects of this movie that are okay. But like when I look at the story, it's very personal, and I don't think it justifies the 3-hour length versus something like Avatar, which I think does.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I know. I mean, hey, that's your opinion. So
I'm just better, so.
Yes, I think we've all learned that this episode. All right, let's get into the final round here. With my last pick, I am also going for sort of a spectacle piece that I haven't seen. Again, I haven't seen any of these. I think it's a big blind spot in a certain genre that I've seen a good handful of films from, but I'd like to expand it. I think this sort of genre bodes well for The Plane. It is a 90s...
Disaster?
No, it's not Disaster. It's a 1993 film directed by I just learned this. The father of the director of Mandy. Did you know Cosmatos, his dad directs movies?
No.
Yeah. George P. Cosmatos, the father of the director of Mandy, he directed Tombstone. 1993's Tombstone, the Western. You know?
My dad loves this movie.
Well, shout out to Sean Winchester if you're listening. This one's for you, pal. This one's got a stacked cast. Holy shit. When I saw the cast of Tombstone, let me rattle off some names. This is a dude's rule movie. Like through and through. Just listen to these guys. You got Kurt Russell. You got Val Kilmer. You got Sam Elliott. You got Bill Paxton. You got Powers Booth. And you got Charlton Heston. In a Western where they're all dripped out. Holy shit, they are dripped out in cowboy costumes. They all got the greatest facial hair. I mean, you know, it's Sam Elliott. He's always packing great facial hair. But Kurt Russell's got a stash. Bill Paxton's got a stash. You know, Val Kilmer, he's got a little goatee and stash. I don't know what this movie's about. I'm going to be honest. I'm not even going to read the synopsis.
What it is.
But it's a Western about a bunch of dudes, it seems. They're all walking in a line together. And I know a lot of people love it. And that's why I'm picking Tombstone. This is my last pick. I think this is the best bet of these three films. I think I can count on this one being the best one of the three films that I'm going to watch on this here plane ride. By the way, all these films, the first two films are only 90 minutes. This one's 2 hours. So not looking at a long time. There's one thing about me is like, I don't like watching long films on a plane ride because my attention span is really short on a plane ride for some reason, just because I get uncomfortable in the seat. So I like watching short films or like listening to music where the song's always changing, you know, or playing a video game where things are always changing. So good tight film. So I hope this is a nice tight runtime with some really cool cowboy action, some mustaches. And I just can't wait to see the Western spectacle of Tombstone. What do you guys think of Tombstone?
It's a Western. It takes place in Arizona.
I am nailing this episode. It takes place in Arizona?
Yeah, because I don't know if you were taught this in your Utahian history classes.
Why would we taught Arizona history in my Utah?
That's exactly why I'm saying this. I don't know if it would be taught because like the same region, southwestern United States. Yeah. And like our foundings are somewhat similar. Where people like headed west and stuff like that, and the outlaws of like Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, those kind of people are like iconic to Arizona history because they are like the reason for the cowboy stereotypes that you often see come out of Western films. And this is centered around a city in Arizona, Tombstone, Arizona. Like centers around like like the goings on at the time between all these outlaws, like the struggle for control and stuff like that. And now there are famous ghost town attractions like in Bisbee and all that stuff, like all those like little towns on the outskirts of major cities and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like Tombstone's like closer to Tucson than it is to where I live, but like I've been there. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, lots of
So yeah,
shooting.
well,
Horses.
saloons and like shows and stuff like that. It's like authentic version of what Knott's does.
Chicken dumplings. Got a good chicken there.
Mhm.
I don't know. Boysenberries? No,
Mhm.
no boysenberries. That's a not staple. Anyways, Chris, what do you think of Tombstone? You ever heard of this movie?
No, I have not. The cast is definitely stacked. I just saw that picture of them in their lineup on Letterboxd. They look hella fresh. Hello
Don't
Fresh.
they?
Sponsor of this.
God damn.
Speaking of which, sponsor of this episode, Hello Fresh.
Hello Fresh. MeUndies.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not the most well versed when it comes to westerns. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm open to seeing this. This sounds kind of cool. I love these kinds of like, I mean, Ethan, correct me if I'm, but is this kind of like a team up movie, like an ensemble, like Magnificent Seven kind of deal? Because that's what I'm imagining seeing the picture.
That's what I'm thinking too. There's like all these tough dude cowboys that are teaming up to do something in this town, defend it maybe. Like stop a bandit or a crook or some,
Bandits and crooks. What are you talking about, bro?
What? What do you mean?
Yes, they're outlaws.
These guys are outlaws?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I didn't read the synopsis. They could be good guys.
If they're the
That's true. I don't see a sheriff badge on any of them, so yeah, maybe they're stopping maybe the sheriff is corrupt. I don't know. Are they good guys or bad guys? That's
I mean, historically, if this is a story about Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday and like the numerous outlaws of Tombstone, Arizona, I would assume that it follows their escapades.
Oh yeah, Val Kilmer is Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
So they are outlaws. Well, that changes everything. That makes me even more excited. We get to see some Brad boys do some Brad boy things.
Brad Boys for Life.
Great movie.
Brad Boys for Life. Good man, good man. Who the hell want to sing that?
Oh yeah, good man. I forgot about that part. Anyways, I should have picked Bad Boys for Life. That's a great movie. I could watch
Ethan,
that.
if you can find it and put it on your phone, we should do like, since we're sitting next to each other, we should watch it together.
Yeah, let's try.
Fine
try
by me.
Yeah, you and Joey can stay out of this because you guys don't like this movie.
You know why? Because Ethan, you and I are bad boys, but Brandon
and they're good men.
They're good men. Good men.
We're watching Good Boys. The
Good Boys versus
Wait,
Bad Boys.
That's a funny double feature. Good boys and bad boys.
Joey gave this half a star. Oh my god. Anyways,
Tombstone.
yeah, that's my pick. All right, moving on. Brandon, what's your last pick?
My last movie, I wanted to pick a comfort movie.
Oh yeah.
I pick one that I feel like would be such a chill experience on a plane. It has nothing to do with plane rides. It has everything to do with the vibes, and
It has everything to do with the vibes.
It has nothing to do with the cinematography and everything to do with the vibes. I'm picking Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Hey, dude, I'm not even kidding. I thought about picking this. I know that's random, but I saw it. I googled like traveling movies, and for some reason that movie came up, and I was like, maybe. Good pick. I like this. I really like this.
I think that when you're traveling, you just want to find a film that is very stable in its tone and consistent, and it's easy to watch and digest, much in the vein of Independence Day. Although Independence Day is a longer one, it's more of a blockbuster. It's a comedy that I feel like finds its root in like the absurdities of like time travel and the absurdities of Bill and Ted as characters. And I remember watching this movie early in COVID, or was it wasn't super early. was like August of 2020.
Yeah. They watched it at my house.
At SNET 1, and really digging the vibe of this movie as we were sitting around the television watching it, because it was not only like this odd film to come out at the time that it did, but it was like kind of a magical experience that it worked and didn't just feel like dated and like a has-been thing right away. And like it's like the roles that the characters play, if they fit like gloves to come back to. And I love the comedy of this movie. I love the message of this movie. It's very wholesome, very sweet, but also like kind of a rock concert in itself, a vibe.
Yeah.
Chris, do you have any? Because I know Chris, he likes this movie.
Bill and Ted rocks. I remember that night watching this movie and just having the time of our lives.
Little Caesars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just like you said, Brandon, it's a very like digestible movie, really crowd pleasing, just like easy to watch entertainment, and like, and the thing I really appreciate about this movie is that it doesn't hide the fact that that's what it is. It's very much aware of the fact that like, yeah, we're not making like a huge statement or anything with this movie. They're just trying to have a good time, and this movie is all about that. And I think at the time, especially, right as the pandemic was starting to kick off, this was a very welcome, film to have come out, because it was just nice to have something a little positive again. And it's great. I think this is a great film. Kid Cudi, I will say, I wish Kid Cudi hummed in the final song, because otherwise it feels like, why did they bring him in anyway?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, very fun movie. If you like Bill and Ted, you'll like this movie. Not much to say beyond that. Very digestible, very good movie.
My biggest complaint of Bill and Ted Face the Music, outside of the cinematography, like you said, Brandon, it's horrible. This movie looks like it's shot like this movie looks like a Super Bowl commercial. It's awful.
That is true. Somebody said it was like this, and I forget the other movie. Maybe it was Multiverse of Madness, were like the longest Super Bowl commercials ever.
Multiverse of Madness.
I think that's like, or what was the movie? Maybe it wasn't Multiverse of Madness, but it was another modern day blockbuster where like old actors came back. I forget, but like they were like they're old Super Bowl commercials that just keep going and go on and on, rather than like just ending after like a 5-minute promo.
Yeah, it did not look good, but my biggest complaint is I wish we could have heard the song that would have united the world that was written by Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters. Steel. I want to hear that one. I bet it was better than the one that they came up with. I'll tell you that.
No, the one they came up with is great. Came up
was epic.
No way. I want to hear the Dave Grohl's version. Come on. I love Foo Fighters. But yeah, it is a very wholesome 100 film. I don't know. That's what Bill and Ted's always been, and it just came out at the right time when we were deep in the pandemic, August 2020. Holy shit, do you guys remember that? Remember how intense things were back then?
We were like struggling to find times to hang out because we were afraid of giving each other COVID if we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably hung out with each other a bit too much, considering the circumstances. Looking back, like we were fucking lucky that how we were able to pull that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Except for Brandon, he actually got COVID, but that wasn't our fault. That was. But yeah, crazy time and good movie that give us back that life that we were missing. And maybe that's good for the plane. I don't know. Maybe it is. All right, let's wrap this up, Chris. What's your last pick?
All right. So my final pick, I wanted to pick a film that highlighted the value of relishing in the journey over the destination. This tends to be a common theme in movies that deal with travel of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing this film a few years ago, not really thinking much of it at the time, but over the years and viewing it again, it's become a movie that's become really special to me. It's just a movie that I feel has resonated with me a lot over the years. I'm picking a 2013 film directed by Ben Stiller. I'm picking The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Oh. I've never seen this movie. What?
I own this movie.
Oh.
This is a very optimistic film. This movie follows Ben Stiller's character Walter Mitty, who plays like this timid magazine photo manager who lives his life vicariously through daydreams until one day he finally decides to embark on this unprecedented life-changing journey when a film negative goes missing. I'm going to share why I picked this film through a very personal anecdote. Some of you listeners may have heard through the grapevine of this podcast that I'm an aspiring cinematographer, and a lot of my life is lived by looking at images and creating my own. So much so that for years I've often experienced many moments in life behind a camera rather than the quote unquote authentic experience. And one thing I remember struggling a lot with as a cinematographer was that so much of my passion and energy were going towards crafting stories of others, which of course is part of the job and something I take great pride in. But there have definitely been instances in the past where I sometimes feel like I've spent more time telling other people's stories rather than living my own. And at the beginning of this film, Walter Mitty lives his life filled with mundanity. He wakes up, goes to work, goes home, day in, day out, until eventually he finds himself swept up in this life-changing adventure that not only reminds him of the great beauty of our world, but also the importance of experiencing it authentically, which is something that touched me very personally because it was something that I feel like I was struggling to do as well in my life at the time. But really, this movie is about how we as humans place too much importance on what's going on in our minds rather than taking time to experience life as it is in that moment. And that, I feel like, is the essence of traveling. And that is where the magic of traveling really does come from. And that's why I made this my final pick, because I feel like it really does capture that feeling. And on top of that, it's a very accessible and optimistic movie. And I would like to believe that if you watch this movie on a plane or on a car ride or on a boat or what have you, you'll get off that transportation and feel invigorated to go on an adventure. And I feel like that is a great mentality to have once you go off on your vacation or what have you. So yeah, Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
That was beautiful, Chris. That is something that you want to just keep in mind when you're traveling, that like this is something that you can do as a human. You're meant to go out like and explore this beautiful world, you know, and like and find your story, basically, you know, the story that you want to tell, that's yours and yours alone. I haven't seen this movie. To me, it was like when I saw the trailers, it didn't look that interesting to me. I was just like, okay,
the trailers are very
yeah. I was like, okay, Ben Stiller it seemed very mundane, you know. Didn't seem worth my attention when it came out in theaters first, and then I just forgot about it. Just went under the radar for the rest of my life until now, and now I want to check it out. I don't know. I want to see what it's all about. What do you think, Brandon? You own this movie.
I think I do own this movie. I don't think I caught it in theaters because this is the time right after I got into movies. So I was like 13, 14 when it came out, and I remember seeing like trailers for it and being really interested in it, but like we have the budget and the movies that we went to see, and I don't think this one just caught my eye enough. But I remember seeing it after the fact because I worked at a library, and I remember getting it as an employee and watching it and being really enthralled by it. I don't love the movie, but I'm definitely surprised to know at how big of a following it has. Because there's always people who are like, this is one of my favorite movies ever. It's like they're about time, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because it means so much to them because it finds the extraordinary and the mundane, and it asks people to dream and like live their dreams in a way that is very inspiring, you know, like as somebody who has done a fair amount of travel in the last 6 months, like I can definitely say like Secret Life of Walter Mitty kind of does have that impact on people. Like if you watch that movie and you want to travel, it makes you want to do that. It makes you want to follow through on dreams that you may have and escape the office job that you might be working in for a little bit, at least. And There's not much to say about the film outside of that. It is kind of slice of life in its execution, but Ben Stiller is pretty great in it. I wish he did more stuff like this.
Yeah. I do think this is probably my favorite of Ben Stiller's performances, I think.
At least his dramatic performance.
Yeah, at least within his dramatic stuff. By the way, real quick, a little tidbit about this movie. This movie's actually a remake. The original movie came out in 1947, but has barely anything to do with this. Like, they're very different movies. The only common thread is that they're both of the main characters are daydreamers, but like the second one is about like has something to do with like stealing like crown jewels and this big conspiracy thing. It's like a crime noir kind of movie in a weird way. Anyway, weird tangent. But yeah, I wanted to pick Secret Life of Walter Mitty. That is definitely my favorite of the films that I've put forward today. And yeah. So there we go.
There we go. And there we have it. Wow, what a very, very, very diverse list of films we have here. It's gonna be interesting to see what we settle on for this final stack, since we have no films in common. So before we do that, let's of course run down our 3 picks one more time, just to remind everybody. My 3 picks were Weekend at Bernie's, Chariots of the Gods, and Tombstone. All films I've never seen, but I'm gonna watch them this weekend on the plane. So I'll let you all know if they're good travel.
Check his Letterboxd.
Check my letterbox. Brandon, what is yours?
I had Independence Day, Bill and Ted Face the Music, and Before Sunrise.
Okay. Chris, what is yours?
And my films were Life of Pi, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and Taste of Cherry.
You can't do it too. That you can't. You guys you're killing me. You're killing me.
Yes. That's what you
You're
get.
That's
what you get for pitching movies you haven't seen.
But that's the fun of it. That's the spontaneity. I was being like Walter Mitty. I was being spontaneous and picking.
You can't say that. You haven't even seen that movie. You're bullshit.
Yeah, like Walter Mitty. I'm just like Walter Mitty. I'm just like Walter Mitty. All right.
I have a pitch.
All right. What's your pitch?
I'm saying Walter Mitty. I think it's a great travel movie. I think it also has a lot to like inspire the viewers while they may be going on a trip about what their trip may hold for them. Then I think Bill and Ted Face the Music, because I think it genuinely. The fact that that's the closest to a double stack we got. I feel like
it
was
with something like a comedy that was more about comfort and it isn't about traveling. I mean, like time travel, I guess, but like it's not about that. It's about bringing the world together, which is a very wholesome message and one that I feel like on a plane would work. And then I'm gonna go Tombstone.
Oh,
because I think it's a Western film. It is a drama more so than it is an action, but it definitely brings a new flavor to the mix that the other two don't have.
Yeah.
So yeah, those 3.
So we got something with a bit more action, some a bit more dramatic,
yep,
and then some a bit more comedy, adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris? Anything you change to that?
I think that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Like, I think it's a little bit of a variety pick, but also like all of them are still like pretty accessible movies.
Yeah,
which I think is an important segment for traveling.
That I think so. You need variety to not stay bored on your flight. And I think they're all pretty relatively short movies. Let's see. Walter Mitty's just under 2 hours. Bill and Ted that's probably an hour and a half, if I remember correctly. I don't know. Tombstone's 2 hours, so looking at a good range there. How should we order this thing? How should we order it?
I would propose Walter Mitty for. Well, actually, thing is, we don't know how Tombstone ends.
So let's just put it Let's put it first then. Or maybe we should do that in between. That's the mystery.
Yeah. Okay. What do we know? So we know Walter Mitty ends with like he's back at his job, but he has a renewed sense of of life, and and Bill and Ted Face
With
the
the
Music
greatest
ends
song.
with them saving the world with the greatest song ever created.
Think of it like you're traveling, and then at the end of your trip, that's when your movie ends.
Like you're back home.
Yeah. Is it like? I feel like on a return trip it would be Walter Mitty, but if I'm being honest, like Bill and Ted at the end is like it's got a rockin' ending. Best song in the world. Imagine the plane touches down right as they hit the final note of their song.
Dude, I had an experience like that with Back to the Future.
Yeah. See?
Okay.
Like that.
like that.
That would be kind of epic.
So Walter Mitty is all about beginning the journey. So you take off to that movie, you know?
That's true.
Then Tombstone is the craziest, whatever it is. We don't know. We don't know. And then you're brought back to Earth with Bill and Ted, and apparently the greatest song in the world that will save all of humanity.
It's pretty fucking good.
Pretty cool. Pretty tight. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, let's do it. Let's run off Stack's quintessential films to watch on an airplane while you're traveling, in a car, in a boat, on a train. How else can you travel? Bus?
Car,
by foot?
boat, train,
On a bike?
plane, helicopter.
Helicopter?
By foot.
Watching
You gotta have those big earmuffs and like to be able to hear the movie while you're on the helicopter.
What other modes of transportation? Fighter jet, Top Gun,
Top Gun,
Monorail,
monorail,
roller coaster.
roller coaster. No, those always come back.
Not always.
Oh,
R.I.P.
shit.
Shut up! That's not a roller coaster. Bleep that.
Oh, that's
Get rid of that. That
Bleep
draws
that.
the line.
Because that's not a roller coaster.
No, because he's dead.
Oh, okay, fine. All right, and wait, what were we talking about? Yeah, just whatever. Travel movies. Chris, what's our first pick?
Our first film is Ben Stiller's 2013 comedy drama, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, a film about taking in the experience of a journey, finding meaning in the most mundane elements of life, but also experiencing life and our world in the most authentic way possible, and that's sometimes removed from a camera or anything like that. Very uplifting and optimistic film.
And our second film is our mystery grab bag pick of travel picks. It's like you want to try something new, which is a film none of us have seen. Is Tombstone. You know, it's got outlaws, a great old outlaw team in Arizona, a bunch of bad boy macho guys dripped out doing stuff. You got to find out what it's about, and we're going to find out. I'm going to find out too, so I'll let you all know. Tombstone, that's our second pick. Brandon, give us those magic words, will you?
And our last film. We're picking Bill and Ted Face the Music, our trilogy capper. That is a wholesome adventure through time and space about familial love, about platonic love. Just a movie about love. And it's going to be a wholesome ending for your trip. Just when you land, you're going to be like, yeah.
That's right. Well, all right, everybody. That's our episode of Stacked. Hope you all enjoyed this one. Thank you all for listening. An update. We got a response from last week. We asked our listeners where they listen to Stacked. Remember that?
No.
Did Slim Nave respond?
Slim Nave responded. He listens to it while he drives down the 405. Or he said, or when he's at home watching Space Jam: A New Legacy, he'll listen to Stacked.
No.
I love that. Those are the two best times to listen to Stacked.
Are we on
Thank you.
the background, or is Space Jam in the background? That's what I gotta know.
I think we coexist together. I think we're talking. I think you can somehow edit an episode of Stacked to make it sound like LeBron James and Bugs Bunny are on the show with us. I think that's
Dark
beautiful.
Side of the Stacked podcast.
Yes.
Space Jam instead.
Okay. I wonder if there is an episode of Stacked that is as long as Space Jam: A New Legacy that you could just play through the whole thing. We do have some long episodes, those hour 40s. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Thank you all so much for listening to Stacked. Let's see. How should we cap this one off?
Plane.
All right. Let's all pretend to get in a plane. Haha. Okay. Bon voyage, guys. Bye. Bye. Bye.